Do we still have people that are resistant to get the vaccine, and why? What's the big holdup issue?
There's some people who question how fast it was developed. There is, a whole cultural issue with people of color about research and the history of research in African Americans. So there's a lot of fear sometimes in that culture. Mm-hmm. I think the more that we see and they see and our friends see people that they know and respect get the vaccine, the more likely they are to step up and take.
Right after I got my first shot, I'm second dose is coming up in a week or two, and they said, "So glad to know you got your tracking device, comrade." What do you tell people when they say, I mean, they mean it as a joke, but there are some people that really think, I've now got a tracking device.
Say people who are carrying around cell phones all day.
I got a chip.
That's what I say. Yeah. Chips are so old school. We can now track people all the time with this little thing in our hands. We don't need chips anymore.
How about this? In fact, I've read a couple of medically related, and it's RNA stuff. You're messing with my chromosomes. That just sounds creepy to me.
So if I was cutting your DNA and inserting something into it, then I would be messing with your chromosomes. I'm not doing that.
So explain to me the difference.
So what I'm doing is I'm giving you a little piece of messenger RNA. Messenger is what gives a message to your body to make a protein. That's what our own messenger RNA does in our body. This tells our body to make a spike protein that is on the virus. That's all it tells our body to do. Doesn't insert into anything. It just tells us to make this protein. We make that protein, recognize it as foreign, and make antibodies to it.
Can I still get coronavirus after the vaccine? I just won't get sick. I'm hearing that a lot.
So there is a possibility that you could get coronavirus but not get sick. That's called a transmitter.
But could I still be passing it to people?
Yes, like a carrier. That's why they still want you to wear masks even if you're fully vaccinated or if you're in a large group of people.
What is the chance of passing it along markedly less because you won't be sick and you're not going to be...
and your viral load would be markedly less. So the chance of transmitting it is still low, which is why they have said
don't wear a mask.
is you cannot wear a mask around a small group of unvaccinated people and not social distance. They even said you can give hugs and all that because the risk is low. Want to make sure you're not doing around someone that we know is a high risk. Of course, like we were talking about earlier, we don't always know who's high risk.
I had the first vaccine last week.
Yeah.
And what I learned was that if you've had COVID-19, apparently you can react to that in a negative fashion, and I felt like the next day that I had the flu.
Now, did you have Pfizer, Moderna?
I had Pfizer.
Okay. How's about the Johnson & Johnson? Explain.
Where can folks get that still?
And your thoughts on that one?
Johnson & Johnson is actually a good vaccine. It is 100% effective in preventing hospitalization and death. No one who was in the trials was hospitalized or died from COVID. It does have a lower efficacy rate, and the reason why that is...
So that's a big word.
It's not as effective.
Gotcha, thank you.
Because when they studied they studied it in an area of the country, of the world that had some variants that may not have been covered by that vaccine. So by the vaccine, the variant that we all have first been exposed to, the one that's common, that it is pretty effective.
And what's the difference? Johnson & Johnson, I've heard the term old school. I've seen that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is more likened to a traditional, if you will, flu vaccine. What does that mean?
They do utilize adenovirus to get it into your cell. That adenovirus cannot make... Adeno is what causes common cold. It's one of the viruses that can cause cold-like symptoms. It can cause a variety of illnesses. This Johnson & Johnson, that adeno is just a carrier to get it into your cells. It doesn't make you sick. Won't spread, won't cause illness, but that's the carrier that they use.